Today we're going to cover the DisplayLink program and how to operate your displays independently of one another and together, and how to interface with the timing system and Hy-Tek Meet Management. So when you first boot up your computers and you turn on your VX4s, I'm on the left computer over here, and that controls the left screen. The right computer controls the right screen, or we can have the left computer control both screens. To do that, DVI 3 is going to be selected for the left screen, and then DVI 1 will be selected for the right screen. That basically takes the information from the computer that comes into here, sends it and loops it through this one so that we can have the same image on both displays. All right, once we open up the DisplayLink Plus program, which is right here, the program right now is looking for the second monitor, wants to make sure that it has everything that it needs to operate properly, and then the software will open up. Just to kind of cover what's on the page here, we have two levels of display. We have the background and the overlay. It allows us to put static images or text here, or an active background here, and then text over the top of it over here. If you'll look up here, it says CD Control 8, background, and then it has width 608, height 336. So when you're making graphics to display on your video displays, you're going to want to size either those still images or those videos in that pixel format. I want to cover the different buttons that you have here and what their functions are, and then we'll move down here to your library. So the first button that we have is settings. There really shouldn't be anything that you have to do in here. It's basically setting up the display for the size that it is, and then assigning COM ports inside the computer to bring information in from the Gen 7 serial timer, water polo, diving, things of that nature. So if I click on this and I select edit, I can change the name, and we're going to do that right now. I'm just going to say left display. It is a cropped VGA. It's 600 pixels wide, 336 pixels tall, with a 10 millimeter spacing between those pixels. It is full color, and we are grabbing the monitor 2. And I have selected enable the 2-layer display. If you don't want that 2 level of control and it just takes up too much of the screen and it's not something you're going to use, you can unclick that and it'll go away. So right now I'm just going to save that. DisplayLink Plus requires a restart before these settings can take effect. Would you like to restart now? And I'm going to say yes. So it exits the program. We'll come back in. All right, back into settings. The next option down is CTS Aquatic Sports. This is where we have different information coming into the desktop over a serial capture card that we've installed in the computer. We have two 485 data inputs and two RS-232 data inputs. The RS-485 are designated by WA2 Gen 7, and the 232 is just Colorado. Meet Management is only 232, so there's no selection there. I am going to enable timer 2 in here, and I know that that is going to be COM7. So I'm going to save that. The reason I've done that is we're going to be using timer 1's COM6 for swimming information coming into the computer, and then we're going to be able to use CTS timer 2 for diving, so that we can have swimming and diving going on at the same time. We just have to select a different timer in the template, and I'll cover that in a minute. And then the next one down is CTS Multisport, and this is if we were going to be using any of our multi-sport sports programs like water polo, for instance. If we had water polo at this facility, we would have a wireless device that would bring that information into the computer, and we would have to assign it a COM port. We're not using water polo at this facility, so that's why we don't have any of those selected. So at any time, if you want to get out of something or just have it not display, there's a little X over here on the side so we can get rid of that. The next thing I want to cover is quick messages. Quick messages are a way for us to display a message on the screen that is larger than the screen is wide. So for instance, if I wanted to say, welcome to Arlington ISD, well, let's try that again. Welcome to Arlington ISD. Coaches meeting in room 123 at 10 a.m. All right, so that's the message that I've put in line 1 of the quick message, and I can say I want that to scroll, and then I can send the highlighted one. So right now that's actually running in the background. I just have to create a template to tell that message where to display on the screen, and that leads us into the template editor. This is your template editor. This black rectangle here is your screen. You can zoom out or zoom in depending on what your need is at that time. Just like most Windows program, File, Edit, Options, View, New, Open, Save, Save All, and then we have all these different functions that are grayed out right now. Once we have something selected, they will be enabled. For right now, we're just going to go to Core Items and click that little plus, and it'll bring up a drop-down menu here. We have static text, quick message, rectangle, ellipse, line, image, computer time with seconds, also known as a pace clock, computer time without seconds, and computer date. So this is going to be true for any of the other items down here. We have 3 ways that we can get this information to the display. We can say static text and go here. Then we can go over and change the font size, and we can change, or the font style, and then we can change the text here. And once we have it highlighted, and then you see that doesn't fit all the way on the screen. So we make it the right size, we center it horizontal, we center it vertical, and then we can say File, Save As. I'm just going to put it in the General folder, and I'm going to say HB. Once I have that saved, I can close the template editor, go to the General tab here, go to HB, and double click it, and you'll see it come up on the display, even though I can't spell happy correctly. Clear Display and Overlay gets everything off of the screen. Let's go back into the template editor. The next thing down was quick message, and we have a message going in the background right now. So I can click this here, and then click it here, and it'll start there. I can click on it here, drag it to where I want it to start, and it'll be there. Or I can double click it, and it'll always show up at that X and Y coordinate. So we have this message box, and now we need to decide what kind of font we want to have. Let's say this font. And then we take that box, click on it, move it to wherever we want it to be. And we have 2 options to make that message longer. We can hover over the edge of it here, and then click on it and drag it to wherever we want it to end. Now, one thing that's important with the quick message is this is quick message 1 because it's module 01. If we go back to quick messages, we can see that there was 1 through 10. So if we want to display what is on line 1, we need it to be module 1. So once we have that quick message text line where we want it to be, we can save it, File, Save As. I'm going to create a folder here. Quick messages. And inside that folder, I'm just going to call this test. Now, we have that quick message running in the background, so if I go to quick messages and I select test, there is that little message that we wanted to display scrolling across the bottom of the screen. We do not have a way at this point in time to speed up or slow down how fast that goes across the screen. I believe that it will be in one of the future releases of DisplayLink. And again, anytime we want to clear the screen, right click, clear display and overlay. One of the other options, or a couple other options that we have here, is we can zoom to 50%, so make both of those smaller. So let's say, for instance, we're going to be in the swimming tab. We want to be able to see what's going on in the swimming tab. Having those active displays smaller is beneficial. Let's go back into Template Editor for a minute. We did static text and quick message. All of these things are pretty much the same. I want to cover image for just a second. Image, you can drag that anywhere if you want it to be full screen. Now it's full screen, and then you have a little file explorer here. We can go to DisplayLink Library, and I'll just select our Sunbelt Pools image. Puts our Sunbelt Pools image there. Now we can File, Save As, and we'll go to CTS, and I'll say Sunbelt. I already have one in there, so it's going to say, hey, you already got it. But yes. So that's a way to take and put an image into a template. If I wanted to display that, I would just double click, and there we'll see our Sunbelt logo. Again, right click and clear display, back into the template editor. Computer time with seconds, also known as a pace clock. We can take that and choose our font, choose our size. As you guys are kind of figuring out already, a lot of this is the same for everything. And then if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to change the text color. We could go over here and say I want that to be red. I want it to have an outline that is snow white. And I want the background to be a very obnoxious lime green. It's only limited by your imagination. You can customize this any which way you want with your school colors, so on and so forth. Once we have it the way we want it, File, Save As, put it in the General tab, and I'm going to say TOD Test. Again, we navigate to the General tab, we find TOD Test, and now we have our obnoxious pace clock on the display. Again, right click and clear display and overlay, and it goes away. Back into the template editor, I want to show you how to make a template for swimming or for diving or for any other thing that you want. As you can see here, we have our different sports: swimming, diving. If I make this come over a little bit, things that you'll use here: pace clock, swimming results, Gen 7 diving results, team scores. Let's go in, and I think I already have a swimming and a diving one made. Let's do swimming results. So this information comes over from Hy-Tek. There is a trifecta of communication going on between the Gen 7 serial timer, the DisplayLink computer, and the Hy-Tek Meet Management computer. And there's information going back and forth between those three devices at any time, depending on what we're doing, so that we always have the right names on the scoreboard, and so that we can get the results and team scores out of Hy-Tek and be able to display them on the screen. So for right now, we're just going to do swimming results. I'm going to say rank. And let's say I want to do top 16, so I'm going to put 8 on a template. those are way too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that back to something that's going to be legible for us. So I want to use a DisplayLink font. I'm going to use a 15 by 17. So now I just have to highlight all of those, delete them, and then I can do it again. Rank, and I want to do top 16, so I'll do 8 on a page. I'm going to say 5 just spaces between them. And there we go. We got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do not want that background. I do not want that text color. So this one I'm going to go and say transparent. And then here, I do like red. Let's do red with a snow outline. And I think we're going to put a few more spaces in between them. So we'll just delete those again. Rank. And I'm going to say 15. And we want 8. That's a little better. I'm just moving them 1 pixel at a time, as long as they're highlighted with the arrow keys. I'll bring them back down just a little bit. So we got rank, name. It remembers that I like 15 spaces. So now all I got to do is kind of line that up with the last line. I can grab the edge of it here and make the name a little longer. Team affiliation. And I'm going to make that team affiliation box a little bit wider. I think we use 4, something like that. Time, again, 8. So as you're kind of picking up on, we're just taking items that are on the left-hand side and we're telling them where we want them to be displayed on the scoreboard. Event title. I'm going to make that a little wider. And then I'm going to say I want it to go smack dab in the middle. So now it'll work from the middle out. That 0 is pushed up a little on the edge there. So I'm going to make this box just a little bit wider. And I'm going to say I want you in the middle. There we go. That looks a little better. Finally, official, unofficial. And that is our basic template for swimming results. Now that we have the template made, File, Save As, and I'm going to come here and say New, Folder, Results. And then I'm going to say 8 lines, red, white. Save that. And we can close our template editor. Now we're going to go into results. And I don't believe we have anything in there that I can grab right now, but I want to cover it here. If I wanted to go through and pull events through a certain event, or for a certain event, like let's say we get first event's 50 meter freestyle. So after the last heat of the 50 free, I can come in here and I can send a request. It will populate all these different lines if there's information in there. And once we have that information in there, we select our display options. And I'm going to say frame by frame. I want each frame to display for 5 seconds. I want to show top 16 going to finals, and I have 8 items on each template. I want to use first name, last name, and I always want full name uppercase. So what you would see all of this populate with the different results. Once you have information in there, you can go to your results folder, select it, and you would see those results populate. They would wait the 5 seconds, then it would be 9 through 16. And then we'll flip back, go 1 through 8, and then 9 through 16. Again, right click and clear display and overlay. Basically the exact same thing for team scores. You'll build a template just like we did for results, only team scores. And then here we have different things we can select, like combined, women, men, show single set, combined, show women's, show men's, rotate these sets, show last saved, and then here is where we request the event. You can send it to a quick message at the bottom of the screen. So if you have like a regular swimming template rolling and you want to put those into a quick message, you say quick message count 10, quick message slot number 1. So remember when we made the template, we made it for number 1. And then you can select the header combined women's or men's. All right. So that gives us a good idea of template editor and how to put things on the screen where you want them to be displayed and how to save it, how to change the font and the color and stuff like that. Next thing I want to cover is sequence editor. Sequence editor is basically a slideshow. So if we have like a senior night or something like that where we want to show pictures of the seniors and display that picture for a certain amount of time and then have a transition to the next picture, this is where we can do that. In the empty space here, just right click, add item, and let's go to this. I'm going to use our Sunbelt's logo, our Sunbelt logo, and here we can say I want to stretch to the display edges, or I want to scale and keep the aspect ratio. If I scale and keep the aspect ratio, I can pick a fill color for the extra area around it. If I want red, it can be red. At this point in time, I'm just going to say stretch to the edges, okay. And now it's asking me set sequence item options. I'm going to say I want this to display for 5 seconds. And then when that 5 seconds is over, I want it to slide left, and I want that transition time to take 1 second. So there we have Sunbelt. It takes 6 seconds total. Again, add item. We'll do our old Sunbelt Pools logo. Display for 5 seconds. Slide left 1 second. Add item. Our North Texas Fishing Addicts logo. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slide left 1 second. And one more. Add item. We'll do this one over here. Okay. 5 seconds. Slide left 1 second. All right. Now that I always do slide left for all of them, and then I'll come back in here and I'll do slide left. Slide right, slide up, and then uncover down. So I've built a little slideshow. It shows I have a 24-second runtime, so I know how long the whole thing's going to take. I can now choose to play it once, twice, 3 times, how many ever times you would like, or forever, so it'll just loop until you tell it not to. And I can send it to the display and see what it looks like. There's our first slide coming across with our new Sunbelt Pools logo. That'll display for 5 seconds. Then our old Sunbelt Pools logo come across the other way. That'll display for 5 seconds. Our next item will do its transition up, and then finally the one that uncovers down. So that gives you an idea of how to build a slideshow and put it up to the display. Make sure you like the way it looks. Once we like the way it looks and we want to use it for a future time, we can save as, put it in a box wherever you want it, label it whatever you want it. We'll just do our general tab again, and I'm going to say SEQ test. So now I can clear the display and overlay. I can go into the general tab, go to SEQ test, and if this is at the point in the night where we're ready to do our seniors, we can run our senior pictures and do those announcements. Clear display and overlay. The next section that we have, on the back of each Dell computer tower, there are 4 composite video inputs. If I want to bring composite video into those 4 inputs, I can use this program to turn on any one of those inputs at any point in time. So let's say we had a camera pointed at the end of the pool and we wanted to show the last couple seconds of the race, and that was on camera 1. I could go to camera 1, click start live video, and it would show that. And we get done with that, I could say stop live video, and it would go blank, and then we could go in and select whatever template that we wanted to be running. Next thing I'd like to cover is the scheduler. This is something that may be used quite a bit. We have a lot of facilities that use it in a lot of different ways. First thing to note is that it does come up disabled. The reason for that is every time the program opens up, it automatically disables the scheduler because not everybody on a swim meet day is going to remember that it's little Johnny's birthday. And so event 2 heat 3 goes off and we got our template up on the board and all of a sudden it says happy birthday little Johnny. So that's why it comes up disabled. To add a calendar item, just go to new event, select whatever it is that you want to display. Let's say it's our Sunbelt logo. And you want it to display for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, how many ever minutes. Or you want it to be live video. And then you can set the reoccurrence. You can have it start at this time and at a different time. That it'll give you the duration. Daily, weekly, monthly, certain days of the week, only on weekends, only on weekdays, and a data range of dates that you want that to happen. And once you have it in there, when it comes to that time of day, on that day of the week, whenever you have it scheduled and this is not disabled, whatever you have set to display will show up on the video screen. So that's a nice way to be able to do weekly announcements, upcoming events, just anything that you want to communicate to anyone that's in the netatorium. As you can see, I got a bunch of things open here now, so I want to get rid of some of them. I'll just close them. Till I get back here to my swimming screen. All right, swimming. This is the portion of the program that deals with bringing in swimmers' names. Like I said before, there's a 3-way communication between the Hy-Tek Meet Management laptop, the DisplayLink Plus computer, and the Gen 7 serial timer. So right now we don't have anything in here. And we want to be able to download our names for the different events. We have a serial connection to the laptop out on the deck that's running Hy-Tek Meet Management. Next thing that we're going to do is go in here and bring our names over. I've already done it. You just click request entire meet and you'll see the names start coming over from Hy-Tek's Meet Management software. You can go back through here. Right there. So I've requested the entire meet. Everything's coming over. You'll see all the swimmers that are in this session in their event and heat start coming over. And that's coming via the Hy-Tek Meet Management laptop that's out on the pool deck. So what happens, we do this to make sure that we've got all the names. You look at your heat sheet, you say, I've got these guys in the first race, I've got these guys in the last race. If all that lines up, everything in the middle is correct. So we have all the names in there. If we have changes throughout the event, every time you advance the event or the heat inside the Gen 7 software, it pulls Hy-Tek and says, who's in this race? So if we have last minute changes, as long as those changes are made before we advance the event or heat in the Gen 7 serial software, it will grab those new names when we advance the event or the heat. So now if I were to go in and say, I want to use an active background. So I'll use this active background. And then I want to use a 10-lane white overlay. I'll right-click the overlay, send to overlay, and now you can see how it put the overlay on top of the active background. Here I'm going to go back up to 100%. We can also use a static background. If you go online, just Google desktop images, and you can use any desktop background that they have out there and really customize some stuff that looks really neat for your facility. You don't want it to be real busy. You want it just to be like a canvas, but there's all kinds of stuff you can find just to make it neat for your spectators and swimmers. I do want to cover one more thing now that I'm thinking about it. In the template editor, I always make a swimming or diving template or anything I want to display as just a regular template first. So if you look here, I've got a 10-lane white template. So once I have it highlighted here in the library, I can edit it. And here I'm going to zoom it out a little bit. If I got this where I wanted it and I wanted to make it an overlay, just go up here to Options, Make Transparent, and there it makes it into a transparency. And now you can see why I always make one and I leave it as the basic one, because trying to manipulate this is going to be very difficult because I can't see where things begin and end and stuff like that. So always make a regular template and then turn it into a transparency. I'll just exit out of here and it won't save that. We've got texture 2. We've got an ice one. I mean, it's kind of limited as to whatever you want to do, really. Right click, clear display and overlay. One other thing that I want to cover is the library and how to bring things into the library a couple different ways. If I had, say, something from a thumb drive that I wanted to just bring directly into the library, I could Window E, find that device and grab that and just drag it over here. If I have several items that I want to put in there, it's really much easier to use the File Explorer. Click on the File Explorer, find the DisplayLink library, and you can put things into a folder here. What I am going to recommend, because you can already see that this is kind of getting full, I am going to recommend that we use a different folder for all the stuff that we want to put into the DisplayLink library. And I'm going to give a folder here and say new folder DL plus library. I got to do that over. DL plus library items. So this is, if you had a bunch of pictures that you wanted to bring in off a thumb drive, you take and put them in here, and then all of this stuff kind of put in here, and then have maybe some subfolders for different meets, so that you just bring over the stuff that you want for that meet, so you don't have a bunch of stuff that you're getting confused with, and it just kind of helps get this cleaned up. So you could come over here, select the files from your thumb drive, put them into your DisplayLink Plus library items, and have that as a place on the computer for everything that could possibly go into the DisplayLink library, and then pick and choose which ones you want to use for that swim meet and actually put them into the DisplayLink library. One other thing to cover here, if we click the About tab and we click Check for Update, it basically goes to our servers in Colorado and says, hey, do you have anything new for me? Because every so often we'll come up with new updates for new features and stuff like that. As you can see, it said latest version already installed. And just click on that and it goes away. If you want tips, you click the Tips tab. It'll give you some tips on what to do. And if you click on the Help tab, this is the manual for the DisplayLink library. It's searchable, it's indexed. So if you have a question about something, type it in here and you'll be able to find it and print it out if you'd like.